Warning: this podcast may be disturbing to some listeners. Due to the graphic nature, listener discretion is advised. Welcome from wherever you are. This is the Demon Inside podcast. I'm your host, John Venom. If you would like to review another episode of the Demon Inside, you can go to Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and any podcast platform. And please, don't forget to subscribe and rate us with 5 stars. A new episode will come out once a week. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors. And welcome back to the Demon Inside. Hello, my Demon Insiders, and welcome back to the Demon Inside. I'm your host, John Venom, and today we are going to be doing the Demon Inside, Anthony Sowell. But before I begin that, I have a special guest in my studio, and she's here to accompany me, except she's not going to say anything, unfortunately, but she is going to tell you hi right now. So, this is Carmen. Say hi, Carmen.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
She's a new Demon Insider, and she loves the show, and she came up to me, and so we're here now. Yes. But, so today we're going to be doing Anthony Sowell, and this is the Cleveland Strangler. And this guy killed 11 people, but the police actually think the numbers are more in the 80s. So, before we get into that, let's start talking about his history. So, Anthony Sowell was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and he was raised with brothers and sisters in a single parent home. When he was a little kid, his mom got sick, and he ended up living with his mom's sister, and she would beat him and his siblings in front of her children. And then she would punish them by stripping them naked and whipping them with a, coat hanger or a electrical extension cord. So when he was at that age, he was probably about 13, 14 years old. He started raping his 10-year-old niece. Now, according to the aunt, he wasn't the only one. All the other boys in the house were raping the 10-year-old niece. My question is, what the hell? Why didn't she stop all that? So this is where I believe the demon could have came in. Being in this type of situation where there's a lot of sin and a lot of things going on. And, these boys are young and they don't know any better, and it doesn't take much. Once he was 18, he joined the military in January of 1978. He was a United States Marine, and he was at Camp Lejeune doing electrical. He trained in electrical work, and then he was in the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing, and he was at Cherry Point. He was in North Carolina, and in 1980, he spent a year overseas in Japan. So I'm always thinking, if he was over in Japan, I wonder if he was raping women over there too. Later on, he got out of the military after 7 years. He had a good conduct medal. He had a service star. He had a Sea Service deployment ribbon. I mean, this guy was like an exceptional soldier. But he was still a sexual predator. Of course, they don't have any records of anything because maybe they just didn't know. So in 1989, there was a pregnant woman who was 3 months pregnant, and she got invited to his house. So she goes in, and before they even do anything, he grabs her, ties her hands and feet, basically beats her to death, and rapes her. They charge him in 1990, and he receives 15 years. But this was in 1990, and he was released in 2005. So that's 15 years later. This is what I believe, that these demons help these guys to get out of certain circumstances and certain things. And they feed off of this, and going to prison probably just fed this demon even more. So when he got out, he worked in a factory until 2007, and he started collecting unemployment benefits. The neighbors said they used to see him walking around the streets grabbing like scrap metal and things like that to make a buck. During that time, in his neighborhood, women started going missing. Now, there was 3 women before Anthony Sowell was even on radar, and they don't know who or where those 3 women have gone. They've never located the bodies. They just disappeared off the face of the earth. So they're assuming he did. And then one by one, women started disappearing again. So he was collecting unemployment benefits and walking through the neighborhood, collecting scrap metal, and these women started disappearing. Nobody really suspected him, but there was a stench that was coming from his house. The police were called. They showed up. They smelled it as well, supposedly, but they never went into the home. He told them that it wasn't his home that was smelling. It was next door at a sausage company. And they believed him. Now, this is where I think demon influence comes in, because it hides the truth and it keeps people from looking at, the person that they're trying to help to commit all these crimes. So anyway, they believed him so much that the sausage factory cleaned the whole company, the whole place, and they charged him a $30,000 fee. And even after they had cleaned everything and they paid the fines and everything was up to shape, it still smelled. People were still complaining, still smelling. So one day, this poor lady so let me do this right, because I don't want to offend anybody. She was a prostitute out on the streets. She was on hard times, and she was doing crack at the time, crack cocaine. So he invited her to his house to do drugs and drink. She walks in with him. They go up to his bedroom, and he kind of keeps her like in certain rooms, in certain areas. And he doesn't show her the house or anything, but he keeps her. As soon as they get into the bedroom, he asks her, "Do you have a crack pipe?" She took it out. He gets it, turns around, lights it once. She doesn't know if he even smoked it or not, but when he turned around, he was a completely different person.
Did he offer you any?
After he took that hit, he turned around and punched me in my face and told me to take my clothes off. He said, "Bitch, take your clothes off."
Then what did he do? Anything?
Told me if I didn't do what he said to a T, he was gonna throw me in a closet and forget about me.
And what was going through your mind at this time? I don't think this is what you were expecting, was it?
Is this for real? Is this for real? Is this how I'm gonna die? That was the thought. Is this how I'm gonna go? Don't nobody know where I'm at. Is he serious? Is he serious?
As a result of his commands to you, did you begin taking your clothes off?
Yes. Yes.
As you were doing that, was he talking about anybody else at that time?
He went into a rant about his ex-girlfriend. He said her name. I don't know what the name was. How crack people, women who smoke crack, that did him wrong. Just how he was going to get those women back who did him wrong, women who smoke crack. And
then what happened?
He would pop out of it. He would go back to talking normal. And kept telling me, he would come back out of it and say, he told me, you weren't like the others. But then he kept telling me, you don't deserve what I'm going to do to you. He kept talking about all the women who did him wrong, who smoked crack. And he was just talking. And I would agree with him, or I would try and not to say nothing that upset him. And then he told me that he had an insatiable sexual appetite.
Did you ask him if you could use another room?
I finally got up the nerve to ask him, could I use the bathroom?
What was his reaction to that?
He told me, after a few minutes, he told me I could.
So did you leave the bedroom?
Yes.
And as you left the bedroom, the bathroom would be on the same side of the hallway, right?
Yes.
As you walked to the bathroom, did you notice anything about the room on the left?
The plastic was pulled up. I saw something on the floor. It looked like it was a body, and it had no hand on it.
We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my Demon Insiders, and now it's time for the Uber Shout Out of the Week. And today I have two. The first one is Olivia, who I picked up and took her to her school. She's trying to be a nurse's assistant, and we had a lot of things in common. It was hilarious because she's so young, but we actually had a lot of the same thoughts about demon possessions and demon influence. So I just want to send her a shout out. And then the other shout out is to Selena Nicole from the skating ring. Now, Selena Nicole, this was the first time she was at the skating ring in a very long time. And I had to tell her my story about my skating ring, which was I kept falling so much that they told me never to come back again. They didn't want a lawsuit, and they didn't want an ambulance to show up. So, Selena Nicole and Olivia, these are your shout outs. All right, guys, back to the show.
And welcome back to the Demon Inside.
When you left the bathroom, where did you go then?
I went back to the room.
Bedroom?
Yes.
Did he talk to you some more once you got back to the bedroom?
He said, you gonna tell. He wasn't talking to me. He was just talking. You gonna tell. I know you gonna tell. No, at first he wasn't talking to me because you gonna tell. I know you gonna tell. And I said, tell what? I said, what is there to tell? I said, it was just rough, but what am I going to tell? I had to say something. You know, what am I going to tell? It was just rougher than, you know, but what am I going to tell? What is there to tell? I had to make myself, convince myself that that was going to convince him to let me go.
Was there additional discussions about whether or not you were going to leave that place?
Yes.
Tell us about that, please.
He said something to the effect of he was gonna let me go, and that he got paid Monday, and I could come back over Monday, and just all I could think was get out, you know, and that's all I could think about.
Were you able to or allowed to put the clothes back on?
Whatever I seen, I put on. I know I didn't put all my clothes on. I know I left some things behind. I don't know what exactly. I don't think I had on socks or underwear anymore. I just made sure he walked right beside me. I didn't want him behind me. I didn't want him in front of me. Just walk me to that door, please. Just walk me to the door. Just let me go. Let me go. Just let me go.
You make it outside?
Yes.
Is there anybody out there?
No.
Where did you go?
I walked and I made it to Kingsman, and nobody helped me. Nobody helped me. Nobody helped me. Can you get no help?
Was he still with you, or were you by yourself?
No. I was by myself.
Where did you wind up going today?
I made it to a bus stop on Kingsman. And I don't know where else. I couldn't walk no more. I was tore up.
Tell anybody about this?
Yes.
Who did you tell?
I told a guy that I knew see me at the bus stop. He came and sat next to me at the bus stop. And I told him what had happened, and I asked him, did he know of that name? You know, I told him the name was on the porch. He didn't know him. I don't think he knew him. But he wasn't, you know, he was off into himself. I tried to call the police. Well, not try. I called the police. They told me I had to come in and make a report. Come in. I can't even. How do I get there? I'll come in and make a report. You can't take a report over the phone. And I ended up at a house in the attic and just went to sleep on his cot and couldn't.
How'd you feel about going to the police?
I felt like less than a human because I already had a bad experience. They already harassed you. I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't know. I felt horrible about going to the police.
Okay, could You already had a prior bad experience?
Yes, 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 yes.
Did you have a lot of confidence in the police?
I had none at all. None at all. None. None. None.
So after that incident, she didn't go to the police anymore. She felt like they were just victimizing her again. And he continued to kill. So this is, for me, the demons that are blocking people from seeing the truth. Now, the one that did escape, which she's still anonymous, she didn't want to come forward, but she did give him a statement. She had jumped to get away from him. She jumped out of the 3rd story of his house all the way down to the ground, and he came running after her naked. And everybody saw this, and everybody started calling the police. So lo and behold, the police finally get there, and they go into the house, and he tries to talk his way out of everything. And he's saying that they were having a lover's quarrel, and, there was nothing there. And they go into the house, they start walking around looking, and they start finding body after body after body. They find 4 in the backyard and 7 in the house. The bodies are already decayed. They smell. There's dead flies everywhere. The bodies are pretty much mummified. They found a head in a basket. I mean, it continues. It's just really, really bad. So, for me, this guy was demon influenced or demon possessed. But let me continue this first, though. He says when the police took him in, and I'm going to play you the video right now of what he says. But before I do, he says that he doesn't remember anything that happened. He doesn't remember anything that happened. And he doesn't remember killing anybody. And he says that he didn't do it.
How were your emotions?
Well, I was depressed. Mood swings. It's just all kind of, so I can't even explain. I was just feeling sad and lonely and stuff all the time,
Was there a point in time after the heart attack you started hearing a voice?
Yes.
Did you give that voice a name?
I didn't give it a name. I had a name.
It had a name.
Yes.
What was the name?
Arnie.
Did Arnie speak to you?
Yes.
Anthony, you know why you're here, obviously.
Correct.
Is there anything you want to say to families of victims in this case?
Well, the only thing I want to say is that I'm sorry. I know that might not sound like much, but I truly am sorry from the bottom of my heart. This is not typical of me. I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. But I know it's not a lot, but that's all I can give you.
So could it have been possession? Sure, it could have been. Where the demon took over and he doesn't remember anything because the demon was in charge. Or it could have been just him making these things up, him knowing that he was killing these women, raping them, killing them, and he just, pretended to hear a voice. Now, the woman that I was talking about earlier that says that she was in his bedroom, she says that he was talking to himself and that he was saying, "You're going to tell, you're going to tell." And she said, "I'm not going to tell anybody." And he just continued to talk to himself. He wasn't talking to her. He was talking to whoever was talking to him in his head. So, for me, it could have been a demon that was influencing him, making him, even if he was possessed, it's still his fault. He allowed this demon to come into him. He allowed this demon to do these things. He knew something was wrong because he told her. And how many other women did he tell when he had them there that they didn't deserve what they were going to get? He says he forgot. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But could it have been demon influenced? I honestly believe it was. But they convicted him on 11 murders. They gave him life for each murder. They convicted him of rape, assault, kidnapping. They just threw the whole book at this guy. So after Sowell was convicted in December of 2011, the house that he owned was demolished. So they got rid of that completely. He was incarcerated in Chillicothe Correctional Institution, and he was there for 10 years, and then he got very sick. On January 21st of 2021, he was transferred to the Franklin Medical Center in Columbus. While he was there, they told him that he had a unspecified, listen to this, unspecified terminal illness. And that's what he died of in 2021, of February of 2021. So, did this demon make him sick? Did this demon hurt him on the inside and kill him? So that brings up a good question of, if a demon is inside a person, can it leave when it wants? Or is it stuck and bound until that person dies? Because what we've been talking about, Demon Insiders, is the demon jumping from person to person. And a lot of these people are still alive. A lot of these people are still walking the earth. A lot of people are still, in prison, or they've gotten out. A lot of the people we've talked about are actually out of prison. Is it demon influenced or demon possession? Is a demon controlling the person? When you have a demon controlling you, do you even know it's there? Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great one. Talk to you all next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the Demon Inside podcast on any podcast platform. A new episode of the Demon Inside will be released every week. Let us know what you think of the episode on all our social media platforms. If you have any questions or comments, go to the Demon Inside podcast at gmail.com or click on the link down below. We would love to hear from you. And to become a Demon Insider, go to our website, thedemoninsidepodcast.com. We thank you for listening and hope you will join us next week for a new Demon Inside podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends. I am John Venom, and I'll see you next time, if I don't get possessed. The Demon Inside was written and created by James Porter. It is a production of Venomous Entertainment. Background music is by Lucas King. And the title song, Demon Inside, was produced by Rice Clover, composer lyricist Peter Shelley, and performed by Conjure One.